A very cagey encounter indeed. I'm joined by my friend and colleague in the media, sports industry, Patrick Orir. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Of course,
here.
Patrick is the chief editor at footer.com. Patrick, a very cagey, Africa Cup of Nations. We're entering day 3, and save for Gabon, the two.
We're not seeing winners.
Well, still most of the matches going for draws.
Yeah, well, it's a slow start to the tournament, but I think even overall above the games, I think it was even very slow hype to the tournament itself. But then the tournament is here with us. I mean, the fact that there are draws, it doesn't mean that it's a boring tournament, no. I think teams are yet to get into the groove. It's only the first games in the groups. And
they're warming up.
They're just simply warming up, and it's only 2 groups gone, so I think we're expecting to see a bit more better football from today going forward.
It's unfortunate that Harambee Stars is not there.
Trust me, it's not a surprise. 30th edition of Africa Cup of Nations, we've missed out on 24. So it's not a surprise. It's more normal for us not to be there than to be there, because we've only been there 5 times.
So it means that...
but then it goes, the conversation is a bit bigger than that. It's just not, you just don't wake up and qualify for Africa Cup of Nations.
Because there's some preparations.
It's a lot of preparations. And I'll give you a basis. If you look at the teams that are participating right now, if you look at the last CAF Under-17, the teams that participated then, we have 6 of them participating at the Africa Cup of Nations. The Under-20, we have 7 teams that were there taking part this time round. So you have to start from your youth setups and move forward.
Patrick, when you look at this region, East Africa, we have Sekafa. Sekafa is the oldest tournament in Africa.
From 1926.
From 1926.
I mean, Gossage Cup.
Yes. And yet we do not have a team in the Africa Cup of Nations. What does it say of the, of Sekafa? I
think first it tells you about the quality of the region. That is one. And then secondly, the tournament has just been held because it's always been held. And no particular reason to improve on the quality of teams. Why am I saying that? Why do we have Senior Sekafa Challenge Cup? Why can't we have the Under-17? It's been very inconsistent. Under-20 Sekafa has been very inconsistent. And one of the issues that Congo had from qualifiers and they're carrying forward to the tournament, very bad defense. I mean, if you concede 8 goals, it means you simply don't have a defense.
Sure.
And that's how Zambia capitalized on that. But then in the second half, Zambia lost its midfield. And that's now when you look at the coaching, because in 2012, the surprise team, they went all the way to win it. So you can see, so he has a squad, yes, 8 players from the last time round, but he's yet to get a very good, a winning outfit. Because even they struggled in the qualifiers. I mean, they struggled against Mozambique in their first 2 games. So see, we are yet to get a Zambia team.
Gel.
Exactly.
Tunisia 1, Cape Verde 1.
I think that was deserved, because if you look at these 2 teams, we're looking at...
It was a closely contested match.
Very closely contested. Now, there's a bit of a history. In the qualifiers to the World Cup, Cape Verde was supposed to meet Cameroon, but they fielded an ineligible player. So they were kicked out, and Tunisia came in. So that came into play because you took our place, because chances are that Cape Verde will not qualify for the World Cup. But then they were kicked out. Now, if you look at just that particular group, they're actually the favorites to emerge out of that group into the knockout stage. So I think a 1-1 was the fairest result for that particular game.
We look at these results, Patrick. Draws, and only 1 win. We seem not to have the big dog, tag, per se, in African football.
Are you talking about big name?
Big name, because are we going to see, the same results, draws, closely contested, cagey, matches?
I think there'll be very close affairs, because if you look at the rankings of the teams that have come through, a lot of these teams are ranked between 30 and 50. Most of these teams. So it's a very small separator between the teams. If you look at the set of players that have come through, we are seeing it's more of a rebirth, a new generation of African football, where teams have come with very young squads, average 23, 24, 25 years. If you look at the fact that your so-called big names, Nigeria, for example, not being there. If you look at Group C, where you're seeing Algeria, team that just came from the World Cup, they could have probably made it to the quarters. You're seeing South Africa, they had a very good run through the qualifiers. You're looking at Senegal.
Youthful side, Bafana.
Very youthful side. In fact, the average age is 24. You're looking at Senegal, one of the best teams in the qualifiers. I mean, only considered once. So we are seeing very quality, teams that had very good qualifiers coming to this particular tournament. It's going to be tough, especially in Group C and Group D. I don't expect that you're going to see your 3-0, your 4-0s. And as you say, if you think the draws disturbing already, I think you're going to see very close fights, especially in those particular groups. Because even when you go to the knockouts, it's the teams from those groups that meet at the next stage. So I expect 1-goal margins as the results.
From today going forward?
Yeah.
When Morocco pulled out of hosting this particular tournament, Equatorial Guinea was there, ready to take over. Equatorial Guinea is a very small country, a population of less than 800,000.
About 750,000.
Yes, 755, I think. What is it that Kenya lacks? Why can't Kenya host Africa Cup of Nations?
Well, first,
with 41 million people.
It's not about the population, it's about the infrastructure and the organization. I think many times it's been said we concentrate on other things other than developmental things. I think our politics takes a lot of center stage, that is one. Then beyond that, we don't per se have any support for sports. So 1996, we should have hosted the tournament. All we needed was government commitment.
So you lack goodwill from the government?
We don't have support for sports. It's left to the federations. And if you look at the history of our soccer, for example, you can't expect much from the federation. The other day we hosted Sekafa. Now the chaos that was involved, I don't think we're going to host another Sekafa in very many years to come. So do you then expect us to host an Africa Cup of Nations? I think the answer is no, not anytime soon. So it takes a lot of government goodwill, it takes a lot of financing because it's infrastructure. Burkina Faso 1998, it's like Ouagadougou became a whole new town because hotels came up, 5-star hotels, the roads were fixed. It was a very huge budget. So it completely changed the economy.
You also need to learn to understand that by hosting such tournaments, there's that ripple effect. If you have good roads, the roads will still be there. It's just a matter of maintaining these roads.
It takes a lot of planning, and it takes, you need to have a long-term vision into hosting such tournaments. I mean, Ouagadougou changed forever after 98, and that's how we need to look at it. But then the wrangling, for example, in 96, the back and forth that was there was too much that it was just easier for CAF to move the tournament to South Africa. Yeah.
Let's go to Group C. Today's matches, Group C, Senegal versus Ghana, South Africa versus Algeria. Senegal, Ghana. Ghana without, of course, the likes of Suleiman Tari.
I'll tell you right now that the hardest tournament to predict of who can emerge as a winner is the Africa Cup of Nations, because you just never know what happens. Ghana, for example, you can put your money on Ghana, but you can never be sure. Big name, they've always been there. I mean, this is their 20th tournament. I mean, they've been there 19 times. They've played 83 games. They're going to play the game number 84. But then they last won it in 1982. So every time you tag them as a favorite, last time round, at the semis, people are saying, okay, it's Ghana's time. They're going to win it. They didn't come close. I mean, they're beaten by Burkina Faso. Senegal, on the other hand, if you look at Senegal, always had the big names. Last made it to the finals in 2002. You're just never really sure. But then if you look at the two teams, in terms of determination to want to win this game, I'd actually give it to Senegal because they had very good qualifiers.
Algeria.
Bafana, Algeria.
Very briefly.
Algeria had very good run in the World Cup, very good run in the qualifiers. South Africa the same, but I think South Africa is a very young squad, and I'm not really sure how they can get their footing in this particular game. I will go with Algeria.
Thanks a lot, Patrick.
Thank you.
Well, of course, we'll keep an eye on Group C, Senegal versus Ghana, and South Africa versus Algeria. Will it still be a cagey affair as we've witnessed draws and only one win? That has been Sports a Chat with me, Hassan Juma, and we'll take a commercial break. Sophia Wanuna and Michael Gitonga is up next.